last Monday, I think it was the 29th of June 2021, the Constitutional Court delivered its judgment in the matter between the State Capture Commission and Mr. Zuma himself. If you recall, the Commission had approached the Constitutional Court to declare that Mr. Zuma was in contempt of court. That court is the Constitutional Court, which had previously ordered that he must appear before the Zondo Commission. He refused. In doing so, he also released a statement, more than one in fact, where he attacked the integrity of the judiciary. He said that sold their souls, they were biased against him, and he was not going to appear before the Constitutional Court to explain why it must not find him guilty. So that was the first. And then after the hearing, the Constitutional Court asked him to make representations to explain why the court should treat him leniently. In other words, if it was a normal criminal trial, it would be called argument in mitigation of sentence. And Mr. Zuma declined once again, and he said he would rather go to jail, which is something that he had said in other forums as well. So I'm just giving a background, because what I'm going to speak about today is not about Mr. Zuma himself, but about the meaning of the whole thing and what we really need to be careful of, who we need to judge, and what it means for what we need to do as law-abiding citizens. The first point I want to make is that we are a system of self-government. We have a system of self-government. That is what a democracy is, which means we do not have a king or queen. We do not have a monarch. So there is no one person with absolute power to adjudicate or make final decisions whenever they feel like. We have a constitutional system with three branches of government: the National Assembly or Parliament or Legislature, we have the executive, which is the government, and we have the judiciary. The judiciary is supposed to be independent and interpret the laws as written by the National Assembly, by the politicians and by the people, in cases where there is a dispute, and decide who's right and who's wrong. The judiciary is also empowered by the Constitution, which is the set of statutes that the people have decided are going to be the set of rules on which all of us in this system of government have to abide. They can also determine what the appropriate sanction is when somebody breaks one of those laws. So the role of the judiciary is entrenched in the Constitution, and that Constitution is the covenant we all sign up to as citizens of this country. There are times when constitutions or parts of a constitution don't work anymore and they need to be revised. That's called a constitutional amendment. That is still up to the people through their representatives in parliament to do so. But at any point in time where there is a dispute, the Constitutional Court and the rest of the judiciary use the existing laws as decided by Parliament and in line with the Constitution that we voted for in 1996 through the Constitutional Assembly and through Parliament to enact into law. So there can never be a question where it is okay for anybody to defy the instructions of a court. Sometimes it is not possible for someone to obey because they are incapacitated, they do not have the means, in which case the evidence is laid out before the courts and they can see that the person is incapable of obeying. Sometimes somebody is dead, but if you are alive and capable, you must obey the decisions of the courts. This is a very important principle. It's called the rule of law. Because if we create an exception for anyone at all, then we might as well forget about having a democratic constitutional order at all and let everybody do whatever they like. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that there are those who feel that because of the role that he played in the struggle, Mr. Zuma cannot go to jail. This is nonsense. It's BS. At no time during the struggle was the cause of those who participated and lost their lives so that that they may enjoy impunity and not be subject to the same laws that everybody is subject to. There can be no exception. There is no political solution either. If Mr. Zuma or anyone believes that there are circumstances that are particular to them, under which for whatever reason they are not supposed to be subject to the same laws that the rest of us are subject to, then we need to fight that belief with everything that we have. Because at the heart of our system is the ability of the courts as an expression of what is in our laws, which laws are a representation of the democratic will of the people, that we must obey all of those court orders. They are not drawn from thin air. Judges don't sit there and make laws and decide to do whatever they like. The struggle was not about impunity.